Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to be talking about ancient languages. Yes, ancient languages. Have you ever wondered what language the first man, Adam, spoke with his wife, Eve, in the Garden of Eden? If you want to know how the Bible was written, you need to know about the alphabets and languages that was used by the ancient civilization. Before the flood, it is not known what language man spoke. According to historical research, the earliest language spoken by man after the flood came from Akkad in the northwest region of ancient Babylon and is called Akkadian. The three terms Adam, Eden, and Sabbath in Genesis chapter 2 are probably Akkadian and not Hebrew. Akkadian was originally made of lines. These lines were drawn into word shapes. Eventually, the writing developed into cuneiform script. This script was used until approximately 2,000 years before Christ, about the time of Abraham. The Babylonian writing of the tribe of Shem. From about 2,000 years before Christ, the Babylonian writing of the tribe of Shem replaced Akkadian. We believe that this is the origin of the Aramic language that came later. This kind of writing was used until approximately 600 years before Christ, at the time Nebuchadnezzar ruled in Babylon. The language of Canaan and the Hebrew language, Ur of the Chaldeans, was the original dwelling place of Abraham. It was in Babylon. The people there were descendants of the tribe of Shem, and the language they used was the Babylonian language just mentioned. When Abraham was called by God into Canaan, historians all agree that he would naturally have given up his native Babylonian language of Shem and would have taken up the local language of Canaan. This language of Canaan probably became the later Hebrew language or part of it. Some have taken the language of Canaan in Isaiah chapter 19 verse 18 to mean the language used by the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham. The language of Canaan and the Hebrew language, historians have postulated that a large portion of the subsequent Hebrew language was developed from such a language of Canaan. Aramic. About 600 years before Christ, the Israelites were taken captive by the Babylonians to Babylon. They stayed there for a long time. Spontaneously, they gave up Hebrew and adopted the local Aramic language, which was the Chaldean language. After their return from their captivity, history tells us that they were still using the Aramic language. At the time of the Lord Jesus, the Romans had already occupied the land of Israel. Although Greek was commonly used throughout the Roman Empire, the Jews nevertheless still used Aramic among themselves. Only the rabbis spoke and read the scriptures in the Hebrew language. If there were some in the synagogue who did not understand Hebrew, there would be someone to translate it into Aramic. Many historians have postulated that the language used by the Lord Jesus to speak with the people daily was probably Aramic and not Hebrew. When he spoke in Mark chapter 5 verse 41, Telita kum, and in Mark chapter 15 verse 34, Eloah Eloah lama sabachthani, the words were all Aramic. Greek. After the Roman Empire conquered the land surrounding the Mediterranean Sea and spread the Greek culture everywhere, Greek became the common vernacular language used by all the people in the Roman Empire at that time. All these languages are directly or indirectly related to the completion of the Bible. The main body of the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. However, there are 4 portions that were written in Aramaic. They are Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 11, Daniel chapter 2 verse 4 to chapter 7 verse 28, Ezra chapter 4 verse 8 to chapter 6 verse 18, and chapter 7 verse 12 to 26. These 4 portions are absolutely related to the Aramaic people, that is the Babylonians. That is why the Bible used Aramaic instead of Hebrew. The New Testament. The whole New Testament was written in Greek. A few sentences in it were written in Aramaic. They are those already mentioned. Talitha kum, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.